respectful obeisances to you. I merely endeavored to offer you obeisances, but nonetheless, the attempt was as successful as those of pure devotees. The causeless mercy you have shown to me, a fallen demon, was never achieved even by the demigods or the leaders of the various planets. Wow, wonderful statement. Purport. When Vamanadeva appeared before Bali Maharaj immediately wanted to offer him respectful obeisances, but he was unable to do so because of the presence of Sukracharya and other demoniac associates. The Lord is so merciful, however, that although Bali Maharaja did not actually offer obeisances, but only endeavored to do so within his mind, the Supreme Personality of Godhead blessed him with more mercy than even the demigods could ever accept. Wow, very important statement. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 2.40, Swapam apyasya dharmasya jayate mahato bhayat. Even a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear, that is, taking birth again in the material world. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Bhava Grahi Janardana because he takes only the essence of a devotee's attitude. If a devotee sincerely surrenders the Lord as the super soul in everyone's heart, immediately understands this. Thus, even though externally a devotee may not render full service, if he is internally sincere and serious, the Lord welcomes his service nonetheless. Thus, the Lord is known as Bhavagrahi Janardana, because he takes the essence of one's devotional mentality. Text number 3. Sukadeva Goswami continued, after speaking in this way, Bali Maharaja offered his obeisances first to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, and then to Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. Thus he was released from bondage of the Naga Pasa, the ropes of Varuna, and in full satisfaction he entered the planet known as Sutala. Text number 4. Thus, having delivered the proprietorship of the heavenly planets to Indra, and having fulfilled the desire of Aditi, mother of the demigods, the Supreme Personality of Godhead ruled the affairs of the universe. Text number 5. When Prahlada Maharaja heard how Bali Maharaja, his grandson, and his family had been released from bondage and had achieved the benediction of the Lord, he spoke as follows in a tone of greatly ecstatic devotion. I'd like to hear that. Prahlad Maharaj said, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are universally worshipped. Even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva worship you. They worship your lotus feet. Yet, although you are such a great personality, you have kindly promised to protect us, the demons. I think that such kindness has never been achieved even by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, or the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi. What to speak of other demigods or common people? Interesting. Purport. The word Durga Pala is significant. The word Durga means that which does not go very easily. Generally, Durga refers to a fort which one cannot very easily enter. Another meaning of Durga is difficulty, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead promised to protect Bali Maharaja and his associates from all dangers. He is addressed here as Durga Pala, the Lord who gives protection from all miserable conditions. Text 7. O supreme shelter of everyone, great personalities like Brahma enjoy their perfection simply by tasting the honey of rendering service at the at your lotus feet. But as for us, who are all rogues and debauchees, born of envious family of demons, how have we received your mercy? It has been possible only because your mercy is causeless. Very nice statements. Text 8. O my Lord, your pastimes are all wonderfully performed by your inconceivable spiritual energy and by her perverted reflection, the material energy. You have created all the universes. As the supersoul of all living entities, you are aware of everything, and therefore you are certainly equal toward everyone. Nonetheless, you favor your devotees. This is not partiality, however, for your characteristic is just like that of a desire tree, which yields everything according to one's desire. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Samaham Sarvabhutesu Namedvesu Stina Puya Ye Bhajanti Tumam Bhaktya Maite Tesu Satyaham. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. Yeah, so this shows the importance of rendering devotional service. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is certainly equal toward living entities, but a devotee who fully surrenders at the lotus feet of the Lord is different from a non-devotee. In other words, everyone can take shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord to enjoy equal benediction from the Lord, but non-devotees do not do so, and therefore they suffer the consequences created by the material nature, the material energy. We can understand this fact by a simple example. The king or government is equal to all citizens. Therefore, if a citizen capable of receiving special favors from the government is offered such favors, this does not mean that the government is partial. One who knows how to receive favors from the authority can receive them, but one who does not neglect these favors and does not receive them. One second. One who knows how to receive favors from the authority can receive them, but one who does not neglect these favors and does not receive them. there are two classes of men, the demons and the demigods. The demigods are fully aware of the Supreme Lord's position, and therefore they are obedient to him. But even if demons know about the supremacy of the Lord, they purposely defy his authority. Therefore, the Lord makes distinctions according to the mentality of the living being, but otherwise he is equal to everyone. Like a desire tree, the Lord fulfills the desires of one who takes shelter of him, but one who does not take shelter is distinct from the surrendered soul. One who takes shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord is favored by the Lord, regardless of whether such a person is a demon or a demigod. Okay, there it is. So, in all circumstances, we should, whether we're a demon or we're a devotee, we should take shelter by surrendering completely to the Lord. One who takes shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord is favored by the Lord, regardless of whether such a person is a demon or a demigod. So that's a very profound statement. Text 9. The Supreme Personality God had said, "My dear son Prahlada, all good fortune unto you. For the time being, please go to the place known as Sutala and there enjoy happiness with your grandson and your other relatives and friends." Text number 10. The Supreme Personality of Godhead assured Prahlada Maharaja, "You shall be able to see me there in my usual feature with conch shell, disc, club, and lotus in my hand. Because of your transcendental bliss, due to always personally seeing me, you will have no further bondage to fruitive activities." Okay. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Karma bandha, the bondage of fruitive activities, entails the repetition of birth and death. One performs fruitive activities in such a way that he creates another body for his next life. As long as one is attached to fruitive activities, he must accept another material body. This repeated acceptance of material bodies is called samsara bandhana. To stop this, a devotee is advised to see the Supreme Lord constantly. The Kanishta Adhikari, or the neophyte devotee, is therefore advised to visit the temple every day and see the form of the Lord regularly. Thus, the neophyte devotee can be freed from the bondage of fruitive activity. Okay. Even if you cannot physically see uh, the uh, the deities, one can see through television or the other different ways of seeing. The Kanishka Adhikari or neophyte, the devotee, is therefore advised to visit the temple every day and see the form of the Lord regularly. Thus, the neophyte devotee can be freed from the bondage of fruitive activities. Okay. Srila Sukadeva Goswami said, accompanied by Bali Maharaj, "My dear King Parikshit, Prahlada Maharaja, the master of all the chiefs of the demons, took the Supreme Lord's order on his head with folded hand. After saying yes to the Lord, circumambulating him and offering him respectful obeisances, he entered the lower planetary system known as Sutala. So he entered the lower planetary system known as Sutala. Okay. Text 13. Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, thereafter addressed Sukracharya, who was sitting nearby in the midst of the assembly with the priests, Brahma, Hota, Udgata, and Advaryu. O Maharaj Parikshit, these priests were all Brahmanavadis, followers of the Vedic principles for performing sacrifices. Text number 14. O best of the Brahmanas, Sukracharya, please describe the fault or discrepancy in your disciple, Bali Maharaja, who engaged in performing sacrifices. This fault will be nullified when judged in the presence of qualified Brahmanas. Interesting. Second. When Bali Maharaja and Prahlad Maharaja had departed for the planet Sutala, Lord Vishnu asked Sukracharya what the fault was in Bali Maharaja for which Sukracharya had cursed him. It might be argued that since Bali Maharaja had now left the scene, how could his faults be judged? Interesting. In reply to this, Lord Vishnu informed Sukracharya that there was no need for Bali Maharaja's presence, for his faults and discrepancies could be nullified if judged before the Brahmanas. As will be seen in the next verse, Bali Maharaja had no faults. Sukracharya had unnecessarily cursed him. Nonetheless, this was better for Bali Maharaja. Being cursed by Sukracharya, Bali Maharaja was deprived of all his possessions, with the result that the Supreme Personality of Godhead favored him for his strong faith in devotional service. Of course, a devotee is not required to engage in fruitive activity, as stated in the Shastra, Sarva Hanam Atyuteja, Bhagavatam 4.31.14. By worshipping Achyuta, meaning Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one satisfies everyone. Because Bali Maharaja had satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there were no discrepancies in his performance of sacrifices. Text 15. Sukracharya said, "My Lord, you are the enjoyer and lawgiver in all performances of sacrifice, and you are the Yajna Purusha, the person to whom all sacrifices are offered. If one has fully satisfied you, where is the chance of discrepancies or faults in his performances or sacrifice?" Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In Bhagavad Gita 5.29, the Lord says, Bhaktaram Yagitapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. The Lord, the Supreme Proprietor, is the actual person to be satisfied by the performance of yajnas. The Vishnu Purana 3.8.9 says, Varnashrama Charavata Purushena Parakramam Vishnu Aradhyate Panta Nanyatatu Sukaranam. All the Vedic ritualistic sacrifices are performed for the purpose of satisfying Lord Krishna. The Yajna Purusha. The divisions of society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaisya, Sudra, Brahmacharya, Vihasta, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa, are all meant to satisfy the Supreme Lord, Krishna. To act according to this principle of the Varnasrama institution is called Varnasrama Charana. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Sutta Goswami says, Atak Pumbir Dridasresta Varnasrama Vibhagasa Sonastita Dharmasya Samsadir Haritoshanam. O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging his prescribed duties according to caste divisions and orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead. Everything is meant to satisfy the supreme personality of Godhead. Therefore, since Bali Maharaja had satisfied the Lord, he had no faults, and Sukracharya admitted that cursing him was not good. Then why did he do it? We'll find out. Text 16. There may be discrepancies in pronouncing the mantras and observing the regulative principles. And moreover, there may be discrepancies in regard to time, place, person, and paraphernalia. But when your lordship's holy name is chanted, everything becomes faultless. What a beautiful verse this is. But when your lordship's name, holy name is chanted, everything becomes faultless. Therefore, we should always have the holy name of the Lord in our thoughts, and we should always be chanting the holy names of the Lord, always. Then whatever we're doing will become faultless. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended Harinama, Harinama, Harinameva Kevaram, Oh Nasteva, 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 Vetiranyata. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. Brihan Naladiya Purana 38.126. In this age of Kali, it is extremely difficult to perform Vedic ritualistic ceremonies or sacrifices perfectly. Hardly anyone can chant the Vedic mantras with perfect pronunciation or accumulate the paraphernalia for Vedic performances. Therefore, the sacrifice recommended in this age is Sankirtana, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yajnai Sankirtana Parar Yajantihi Sumedasaha. Bhagavatam 11.5.29. Instead of wasting time performing Vedic sacrifice, oh, I'm so glad he's saying this. So nice that he's saying this. Instead of wasting time performing Vedic sacrifices, those who are intelligent, those who possess good brain substance, should take to the chanting of the Lord's holy name and thus perform sacrifice perfectly. I have seen that many religious leaders are addicted to performing yajnas and spending hundreds and thousands of rupees for imperfect sacrificial performances. This is a lesson for those who unnecessarily execute such imperfect sacrifices. We should take the advice of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yajnai Sankirtana Paraya Yajanti Hi Sumidasaha. Although Sukracharya was a strict brahmana, addicted to ritualistic activities, he also admitted Nishchidam Anu Sankirtanam Tava. Wow. My Lord, constant chanting of the holy name of your Lordship makes everything perfect. Yeah, that's why whenever we have these programs, and there are a lot of mantras that are being said, I'm always chanting Hare Krishna. I don't try to, chant all these other mantras. Just chant Hare Krishna. In Kali, my Lord, constant chanting of the holy name of your Lordship makes everything perfect. So I don't have to chant all these other mantras. I just keep chanting Hare Krishna mantra. In Kali Yuga, the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies cannot be performed as perfectly as before. Therefore, Sri Jiva Goswami has recommended that although one should take care to follow all the principles in every kind of spiritual activity, especially in worship of the deity, there is still a chance of discrepancies. And one should compensate for this by chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
In our Krishna consciousness movement, we therefore give special stress to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra in all activities. Wow, that's wonderful. Oh.
So, Maharaj, one question.
Yeah.
We are giving special stress on chanting Hare Krishna, but on some occasions we do this fire sacrifice as well. So how to explain that? Is it necessary to do or
No, you don't need to chant all these different mantras. Just chant Hare Krishna.
So why we are doing the fire sacrifice? Like, what is significance of doing as well along with the?
That's because these people don't come to the lectures. As so-called pundits, they don't come to the lectures and read, Okay, so we're on Canto A, Chapter 23. They don't come to these lectures. Right? We're every day we're coming and we're reading and we're learning. But the big pundits, they don't come to the lectures. They learn all these different mantras, and they do this whatever, as if that they've done something big. But all you have to do is just chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This is the Maha Mantra. This is the only mantra that can be said correctly in this age of Kali Yuga. You can't chant all the other mantras correctly. And it's recommended by Lord Chaitanya. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, 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 Gatiranyata. So here, Lord Chaitanya is recommending it, and therefore, why should we waste our time learning all these other mantras? And it says, in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There's no other way, there's no other way, there's no other way. In this age of Kali, it is extremely difficult to perform Vedic ritualistic ceremonies or sacrifices perfectly. Hardly anyone can chant the Vedic mantras with perfect pronunciation or accumulate the paraphernalia for the Vedic performances. Therefore, the sacrifice recommended in this age is Sankirtana, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Yajna Sankirtana Parayar Yajanti Sumidasa. Instead of wasting time performing Vedic sacrifices, those who are intelligent, those who possess good brain substance, should take to the chanting of the Lord's holy name and thus perform sacrifice perfectly. I have seen that many religious leaders are addicted to performing yajnas and spending hundreds and thousands of rupees for imperfect sacrificial performances. This is a lesson for those who unnecessarily execute such imperfect sacrifices. We should take the advice of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yajna Sankirtana Parari Jantihi Sumidasava. Although Sukracharya was a strict brahmana addicted to ritualistic activities, he also admitted Nischidram Anusankirtanam Tava. My Lord, constant chanting of the holy name of your Lordship makes everything perfect. In Kali Yuga, the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies cannot be performed as perfectly as before. Therefore, Srila Jiva Goswami has recommended that although one should take care to follow all the principles in every kind of spiritual activity, especially in the worship of the deity, there is still a chance of discrepancies, and one should compensate for this by chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we therefore give special stress to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra in all activities. Yeah, so the next time that we have a program, and if the so-called pundits are chanting all these different mantras, you just chant Hare Krishna. While they're chanting Viha, Hu, Ha, Wa, Hu, we should be chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Yeah. You see, if you don't come and listen to that Bhagavatam every day, you miss all this. Okay, very important, very, very important. Why should we waste our time saying so many mantras. One the best mantra of all. Yeah.
One comment, Maharaj. Sometime I have seen these scholars or maybe more educated people, they argue on the pronunciation as well too much, like you pronounce in this way or that way, or they do a lot of fight as well. You didn't pronounce properly or something, like argument on pronunciation as well.
There's no problem chanting Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
My Lord, constant chanting of the holy name of your Lordship makes everything perfect. In Kali Yuga, the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies cannot be performed as perfectly as before. Therefore, Srila Jiva Goswami has recommended that although one should take care to follow all the principles in every kind of spiritual activity, especially in worship of the deity, there is still a chance of discrepancies. And one should compensate for this by chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we therefore give special stress to chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra in all activities. Okay, there it is. We don't have to chant all these mantras. You simply have to chant the Hare Krishna mantra sincerely. All right, so on back here. Text number 17. Lord Vishnu, I must nonetheless act in obedience to your order because obeying your order is most auspicious and is the first duty of everyone. Text 18. Sukadeva Goswami continued. In this way, the most powerful Sukracharya accepted the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with full respect. Along with the best Brahmanas, he began to compensate for the discrepancies in the sacrifices performed by Bali Maharaj. Text 19. 1 second. Just hold on a second. O King Parikshit, thus having taken all the land of Bali Maharaja by begging the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vamanadeva delivered to his brother Indra all the land taken away by Indra's enemy. Okay. Lord Brahma, the master of King Daksha and all other Prajapatis, accompanied by all the demigods, the great saintly persons, the inhabitants of Pitriloka, the Manus, the Munis, and such leaders as Daksha, Brigu, and Angira, as well as Kartikeya and Lord Shiva, accepted Lord Vamanadeva as the protector of everyone. He did this for the pleasure of Kashyapa Muni and his wife Aditi, and for the welfare of all the inhabitants of the universe, including their various leaders. Text 22 and 23. O King Parikshit, Indra was considered the king of all the universe, but the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, wanted Upendra, Lord Vamanadeva, as the protector of the Vedas. The principles of religion, fame, opulence, auspiciousness, vows, elevation to the higher planetary system, and liberation. Thus they accepted Upendra, Lord Vamanadeva, as the supreme master of everything. This decision made all the living entities extremely happy. Text 24. Thereafter, along with all the leaders of the heavenly planets, Indra, the king of heaven, placed Lord Vamanadeva before him, and with the approval of Lord Brahma, brought him to the heavenly planet in a celestial airplane. Text 25. Indra, king of heaven, being protected by the arms of Vamanadeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thus regained his rule of the three worlds and was reinstated in his own position, supremely opulent, fearless, and fully satisfied. Text 26 and 27. Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Kartikeya, the great sage Brigha, other saintly persons, the inhabitants of Pitriloka, and all other living entities present, including the inhabitants of Sitaloka and living entities who travel in outer space by airplane, all glorified the uncommon activities of Lord Vamanadeva, O King, while chanting about the Lord and glorifying the Lord. They return to their respective heavenly planets. They also praise the position of Aditi. Text 28. O Maharaj Parikshit, pleasure of your dynasty, I have now described to you everything about the wonderful activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vamanadeva. Those who hear about this are certainly freed from all the results of sinful activities. Oh, no, that's good. Very good. Text 29. One who is subject to death cannot measure the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Trivikrama. Lord Vishnu, any more than he can count the number of atoms on the entire planet Earth. No one, whether born already or destined to take birth, is able to do this. This has been sung by the great sage Vasista. Purport. Vasista Muni has given a mantra about Lord Vishnu. Nate Vishnu Jaya Mano Na Jato Lahim Na Param Anantam Apa. No one can estimate the extent of the uncommonly glorious activities of Lord Vishnu. Unfortunately, there are so-called scientists who are subject to death at every moment, but are trying to understand by speculation the wonderful creation of the cosmos. This is a foolish attempt. Long, long ago, Vasista Muni said that no one in the past could measure the glories of the Lord and that no one can do so in the future. One must simply be satisfied with seeing the glorious activities of the Supreme Lord's creation. The Lord therefore says in Bhagavad Gita 10.42, Vistibhyaham Idam Krishnam ekam sena stito jagat. With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support the entire universe. The material universe consists of innumerable universes. I'm sorry. The material world consists of innumerable universes, each one full of innumerable planets, which are all considered to be products of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's material energy. Yet, this is only 1/4 of God's creation. The other 3/4 of creation constitute the spiritual world. Among the innumerable planets in only one universe, the so-called scientists cannot understand even the moon and Mars. And that's a fact. They don't understand anything about the moon. And what about Mars? Nothing. They've been talking about going to the moon. They claim that they went. But now, 60 years later, after they went, they haven't gone. Why? If they went 60 years ago, why haven't they gone in the last 60 years? Because they never went in the first place. Complete nonsense. Among the innumerable planets in only one universe, the so-called scientists cannot understand even the moon and Mars. But they try to defy the creation of the Supreme Lord and his uncommon energy. Such men have been described as crazy. Nunam pramata kunite vikarma, Bhagavatam 5.5.4. Such crazy men unnecessarily waste time, energy, and money in attempting to defy the glorious activities of Urukrama, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah, I think we'll stop right there. Right? Time is up.
We are at time, Maharaj.
What? Yeah.
Yes, Maharaj. Only Maharaj, one more is 2 more left. Chapter.
What?
The 2 more verse, then chapter is also finishing.
Oh, okay. If one hears about the uncommon activity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his various incarnations, he is certainly elevated to the higher planetary system or even brought back home, back to Godhead. Text 31. Whenever the activities of Vamanadeva are described in the course of a ritualistic ceremony, whether the ceremony be performed to please the demigods, to please one's forefathers in Pitraloka, or to celebrate a social event like a marriage, that ceremony should be understood to be extremely auspicious. Oh, well, that's interesting. It's interesting verse. Purport. There are 3 kinds of ceremonies, specifically ceremonies to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the demigods, those performed for social celebrations like marriages and birthdays, and those meant to please the forefathers like the Shraddha ceremony. In all of these ceremonies, large amounts of money are spent for various activities. But here it is suggested that if along with this, there is recitation of the wonderful activities of Vamanadeva, certainly the ceremony will be carried out successfully and will be free of all discrepancies. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 8th chapter, 23rd the 8th canto, 23rd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled The Demigods Regain the Heavenly Lands. Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, we read so many very important things today. I think the most important is the following. Lord Vishnu, I must nonetheless act in obedience to your order because obeying your order is most auspicious and is the first duty of everyone. That's Canto A, Chapter 23, text number 17, and text 18. Sukadeva Goswami continued, in this way, the most powerful Sukracharya accepted the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with full respect, along with the best brahmanas who began to compensate for the discrepancies and the sacrifices performed by Bali Maharaj. In text 19, O King Parikshit, thus having taken all the land of Bali Maharaj by begging the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vamanadeva, delivered to his brother Indra all the land taken away by Indra's enemy. Text 20 and 21, Lord Brahma, the master of King Daksha, and all other Prajapatis, accompanied by all demigods, the great saintly persons, the inhabitants of Pitriloka, the Manas, the Munis, and such leaders as Daksha, Brigu, and Angira, all well as Kartikeya and Lord Shiva, accepted Lord Vamanadeva as the protector of everyone. He did this for the pleasure of Kashyapa Muni and his wife Aditi, and for the welfare of all the inhabitants of the universe, including the various leaders. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We'll stop right there at Canto 8, Chapter 23, and verse number 25. We'll start at next. We'll start at text 25 tomorrow. Oh, well, wait a minute. Actually, we finished. We finished this whole chapter. We're on chapter 24 tomorrow. Matsya, the Lord's fish incarnation. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All glories to Shiva Prabhupada.
Jai.
Yeah. Thank you very much, my dear devotees. Have a good day today. And chant Hare Krishna and be happy.
Thank you.
Hare Bol.